One out of no.
Hi, how are you? Yay! Did you get any symptoms from the second?
She got me.
When did you get it yesterday? Oh. You're not tired?
Oh, yeah.
She answered my phone.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm just surprised because some people, when they don't recognize numbers, they may not answer. He left his phone. And I was calling worried that something happened to him. He was like, oh.
Hey, you're in Leon's house.
It's just like when your dad was in the other car and, I mean,
Oh, yes.
hang in there.
But you feel like you're naked without it. Okay.
Comfort.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Okay, so we want to go ahead and get started. We apologize, we're a few minutes late. Our beloved Leonard forgot his cell phone. So I talked to him so much until I thought something happened to him. Honest to God, I was like, he always answers my call like on the first or second ring. And I told Vicki, said something's wrong with Leonard, something's happened. And she goes, yeah, it's not like him. It's feeding into my psychosis. And so I then I just started saying, oh no, he's okay. She goes, yeah, it's not like him. And so then I called his office. I'm like, Carly, she goes, he forgot his cell phone. He's all up to, he'll be there in 5 minutes. And he comes in there and he goes, I have no phone. So I appreciate it. Everybody's busy and life happens to all of us. So we appreciate that. But what I'd like to do is for our teams to introduce ourselves, to set the tone for our open book bargaining session for 21. And I'm gonna respectfully request that anything that's not dealing with a bargaining issue, I know that you and I spoke about a concern, I'd like to deal with that after, not in front of all of.
Understood.
Okay, so we can definitely do that. So I will give you all the opportunity to introduce your teams. I do see a new face I don't recognize.
Sure, thank you. Unfortunately, there's a couple of folks that aren't here right now. Ms. Shalenko Smith, who's over at Conley, she was, I guess, just for your knowledge, when it says from 9:30 to 11:30, I'm not sure if administrators are giving travel time and stuff, but just a little note for future.
Okay.
And then Shari Gawanter, who's over at Springwood, she has a rambunctious crew and wanted to make sure that her intern was in good hands, so she will be at the next one.
Sure.
So she regrets not being here, but I will go ahead and let Becca down at the end go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Rebecca Burkhoff, and I'm pre-K at Williamsburg. I'm Patty Oley, I'm ESC at Roberts Elementary.
I'm Pamela Weston, I'm business ed at Leon.
I'm Kim Strelo, LCTA VP and middle school at Cobb.
Avis Berry, 5th grade teacher at Gilchrist Elementary School.
Jared Kilpatrick, instructor at Lively, the welding department.
And we will possibly have a couple additional people. We're just making sure that we get all representation like our SLPs, OTs, PTs, and groups, so that we have some folks that just know that there might be some others. I am Scott Mazer, president of LCTA, and I just want to say thank you for all being here. We know that this takes a lot of time out of your day, valuable time, and there is quite a bit that's been going on this year, but we just wanted to make sure that you knew that we appreciated the way that we've been able to work through this past year, which has been one of the most difficult years, to get to the point where we are now. It was bumpy, no doubt, but at least we are of a collaborative nature where we want to make sure that we come to a resolution where we can move forward. And I think that we appreciate a lot of the things that we've been able to do since that time to get forward. And we look forward to kind of hopefully being one of those districts where we can kind of emulate for other districts how we can all work together to get to the common goal of making sure that we meet the needs of students and the staff that serve. So thank you.
I have a question, where's Mike?
Oh, we will have an FEA representative the next time.
Okay, all right, I just used to seeing him sit there. Okay, so we'll start on our team, and I'll start down with.
Hi, I'm Brett Shively, I'm the Director of Human Resources. Alan Cox, Assistant Superintendent of School Management.
Tina McAllister, HR, Labor.
Vicki Morrison, Project Manager, HR Labor Relations.
Angie Albritton, Supervisor for Instructional HR.
Sue Crowell, Director of Elementary Schools.
Scott Henson, Director of Secondary School.
Rusty Edwards, Principal of Fairview Middle School.
Demetria Clemens, Principal at Celia Elementary School.
Jillian Gregory, Assistant Superintendent, Academic Services.
Wallace Knight, Professional Learning.
Joe Burgess, Principal of Charles High School.
And I'm Leonard Dietzen, and I do agree, this was the hardest year, probably in my 31 years. And it's gonna help to keep the dialogue, it's gonna help to have personal meetings, it's gonna help before, we think there's a huge problem, to talk about it, minimize the problem. And that's what happened a lot this year. We just had crisis after crisis after crisis, and we were able to minimize it all, to somehow get along and get the year moving, with an executive order every other week, telling us what to do, how to do it, and then a PowerPoint disagreeing with executive order. It was just a rocky time for education, for teachers, support staff. The legislature's still up to the shenanigans, in my opinion. It's not a legal word, but it's a word. And so, we will continue to try to reach agreement where we can reach agreement and respectfully disagree where we have a disagreement. And I do think this district did well relative. I have about 17 others, and some are still in combat mode where they're throwing grenades at each other and they're not listening to what the real issue is. And we've had some meetings in my office that have resolved difficult problems, and I think we need to continue to keep dialogue open. No one gets everything. That's the purpose of bargaining. But if we can solve your members' problems who are our employees, maybe we can, live for another day and have a better year. It will be a better year. It has to be. So that's for sure.
I just wanna make an announcement about the restrooms for women. Once again, we're being scolded. The ones over here, Ms. Gregory, are not, okay, so we have to go to the back where the school board room is, so, I'll be honest, Scott and I spoke last week as it relates to this time. This is not, we will not officially share or go back and forth. What we're doing today is setting the tone and potentially sharing what articles we'd like for each other to give some consideration to. And just kind of making sure that we're, like Leonard said, we continue the productive dialogue and we're respectful of each other, and it will give our team an opportunity to research, as well as your team, ideas of how we can continue to work together in a positive manner. So, with that being said, do you all wanna share the articles that potentially you all would like to have us to start thinking about, and we can do the same, or what do you feel like that looks like?
So, being full book, I know, and taking a look at the contract, it is all over the place in certain things. Between Article 7 and 8, how the elementary and high school switch back and forth on, class size, class load, and there are differences in articles where they're referenced somewhere as a tag, maybe on a year that wasn't full book, so someone threw something in.
Okay.
So there's about 40 years of Frankensteining this thing together a little bit in certain spots. So when it comes down to it, I think what would be best to start with is the things that we cannot control, like to start off with things like not being able to strike. The things that are pretty much set based off state statute, so we're not having to go back and figure those out, but pull them out for the 15th, make sure that, we have the proposals.
22nd.
Or 22nd. I'm so stuck on the 15th, sorry about that. But that we take a look at those particular articles.
Okay.
And make sure that we present them and we get them out of the way.
We can go ahead and TA them right now.
TA them, get them done, that way, if you can't change it, then there's no point in necessarily belaboring the situation.
Okay.
Then after that, the thought process is we need to go through, in terms of articles, I know that there will be eventually a class size, class load based off of student contact time and stuff that happened this year. that's gonna have to be clarified, within the contract. And so
Okay.
how we move forward with that, is gonna be, you know, I think, and you correct me, but I know that there are certain concerns that are always on every side.
Mhm.
So if it's best to go ahead and hear some of those things first and then come back to the table with proposals that are based off that, or how we just come to the table with proposals here that's concerns. But we're amenable to how to deal with that.
Okay.
But we have used the small subgroups at times, where when we did a budget analysis
Oh.
last year,
Okay.
and we was still part of the process that where we were trying to do some fine tuning, and then we came back to the table based off of those discussions.
Okay.
But it was still considered bargaining.
Okay.
So, you know,
So class size, class load, with input from our administrators, you're just trying to hear all sides,
trying to get
elementary,
all
middle.
sides, but, and that means, you know, the sides that are also on the other side.
Right.
An example would be, I think, within the articles, it also talks about, you know, 3 preps. Well, you know, we've got folks that are, language, and they're Spanish, or they have like 5, 6 preps based off of the number, or a music teacher who has, different groups that are in the same class. So preps are gonna be an issue when
Okay.
it comes down to that, because there's a lack of clarity within the contract right now.
Okay.
That causes, I think, a little bit of confusion for both sides.
Okay.
Making sure that we understand that. But,
Okay.
you know, those are the things that, but eventually, I'm gonna tell you, we wanna go pretty much line by line through the whole entire thing. And we wanna make sure that everybody has a clear understanding of what it is that it says, that we're all well versed on it, in terms of intent, is very clear. So, to that extent, the question or the idea, I know we've talked, is like minutes, dealing with minutes, having those minutes shared, before we come back to the table, so that we can then have approval of minutes, so that whatever the intents are, that it's taken care of. And then when it becomes an issue, it's not a, site interpretation, it is what the agreed interpretation of the bargaining process.
Okay, so the official minutes. Alright.
So with that, the official minutes and bargaining minutes are supposed to be kept by the district. So what we're kinda asking for is how you guys wanna go through that process for public records requests, all that kind of stuff.
Well,
Purposes.
a couple things, I mean, we could do on a screen, if we're doing it day by day, and, you know, I've seen districts do LCTA request Article A, paragraph A, to read as follows, and they pass language, and then our interpretation of it. So we could have a chronological, but not word for word, you know, minutes, kind of like a PowerPoint of what we do. The only way I know to, and I've seen a lot of districts do it differently, is one article at a time. Like you said, if we agree to recognitions and definitions, we get rid of all that, the stuff that is not broken. You know, that we could fix the year, the preamble's probably fine, little things. And then we probably have to do in track changes, your proposal with your date, and then our response will be in another color with our counter date, so we have each article separate, and at the end they all add up, and the minutes reflect as we go through the articles. Instead of jumping around at each session, 17 articles, there's gonna be an article that will need a subcommittee probably, salary, sometimes supplements, sometimes. But it's easier to go through it and finish one than have 17 ongoing. But we can do it either way. I mean, if you have your wish list up front, we can work on it all. You know, if you have 37 proposals, we don't know how many. I have some districts have 3, because they beat their contract down to nothing for years, and it's already clear, and some that are 140 pages. that you still can't read it, because it's too big. So we can keep minutes, and we have
Yeah.
someone
Yeah.
doing minutes.
Yeah.
What some districts do in the beginning of the meeting or before the meeting, we email you the minutes. Then we open the meeting, do you have any disagreements with the minutes, and let's revise them to reflect, you did not say anything about Article 8, you meant Article 7, it's a typo, it happens all the time. So we correct the minutes, and we have an agreement on the minutes, and that agreement in the minutes is in our new minutes. So that we just keep forward, and we have a date by date by date set of minutes.
Yep.
And we agree before we bargain, last minutes are accurate.
Yep.
Of the session.
Approval of minutes.
Yes.
Yes.
It's best practices, so 2 years from now, instead of, 2 months from now even, we're in a disagreement, and we thought it happens, we thought we reached agreement, and we didn't. So if we reach an agreement here, and we reach agreement the next time we meet in the minutes, it has to be some absolutely intervening event from the legislature that means we have to.
Okay, so you're gonna take the minutes.
Yeah, we have somebody scheduled to do the minutes.
And it doesn't prevent you.
Electronically going to send them to us before, do we have them?
For the next session.
Okay, so could we say that since we're all at different schools and different times and stuff, could we have them a day, 24 hours before? Do you wanna set that?
Yeah,
Would that be?
Is that reasonable? Is that reasonable?
You're the one taking the
Whatever.
minutes.
And we're only gonna
Okay.
send it to Scott, we're not gonna send it to
Yeah.
80 people, and he disseminates.
Yeah,
Right.
you'll have to get it out, yeah.
But at least he gives it to us
Yes.
Yeah.
He gets it 24 hours and he can get it to us right away.
Yeah, that's fine.
24 hours minimum, I'll do my best to get them before that.
Okay.
So I wanna make sure, cause I know that everyone's time, and I know the teachers here are like, oh my God, my kids are at the school, we're talking really slow. So, and I can see her over there, she's like, okay. So my question is, would you like to give us the articles, would you like to present us what Leonard said, not necessarily today, or how would you like to do it? I know what you said, I like the idea of TAing things that are out of our control, that are statute based, okay?
Article 5 is
Yes, speak up, Scott, there's no one can hear you. I can't hear you.
Article 5. Is
Okay.
the strike clause, which would be the first one. Go ahead.
Okay.
Well, do we wanna just go ahead and, we'll send you a list for
Yeah,
next
just
time?
list.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying, so if you send us a list of things that you think that we can, and we'll just confirm, okay.
And then,
Perfect.
I believe that we're gonna go, what you wanted to do is we'll go article by article.
Okay, that's fine, and then we have some things that we wanna bring too, so that's what I'm trying to figure out, are we just gonna do, so on the 22nd, I know you're stuck on the 15th, tell me what articles so that our group, because we probably.
We don't know yet, so we'll.
Oh,
do
okay,
CA
I got you all.
And then we'll start articles.
Last time we talked, I thought there might be a possibility of just figuring out what the rules were, how we were gonna set up this procedure introductions, and then we were also gonna possibly receive some proposal based off of transfer day. If that's not the case, then
Okay, so I know we had some thoughts about that, but,
it was a possibility.
yes, so then we need to do, I value everyone's time, what I don't wanna do is I have principals here and there are teachers here, I don't want, all of you, I don't wanna just sit. So when I think we've set up the rules of engagement, I just wanna make sure I'm clear, prior to the next meeting on the 22nd.
You will receive a list of the articles that we'd like to start with. I think it's a good idea to have the board up like we did last time where she
Okay.
was doing so we can do the edits and things as we go along.
Okay, so you're gonna share with us the things that can be TA'd ahead of time, and then the articles that you all would like to start with, what you want us to look at, okay.
And some of them, like the recognition definitions, okay, there could be, like, if we say Article 3, it's not all of Article 3, it's hypothetically G.
Yeah.
So, we don't want you to think, Article 3, we wanna get rid of all teachers' rights. No, there could be one thing that needs tweaking that has an old date, We will try to do it and track changes so that we can see with the date, the underline and the strike through. It's not traditional underline strike through, but you see we track changes in red what we wanna do.
Okay.
And how we wanna change it.
Do you wanna do red and we'll do another color?
That's fine.
Okay.
So we just know and then we will articulate, hopefully, in bargaining, the minutes will reflect Dean or Mr. Dietzen or Brett or whoever discussed 2.02A. And then pass the proposal on that. LTCA was agreeing because the school board is eminently reasonable. And we'll put that in the notes, eminently reasonable.
He's a joke, sir.
Okay, so then we'll have the board for next time, we'll go through, I think I heard you all say article by article.
Yes.
Then what we'll do is we'll be prepared to, if there's anything that gives us, we need further clarification from our side as administration to help us understand and anything, and then we'll set forth, if there needs to be small groups at some point, we'll make sure we have appropriate representation from the district level to support the small group work. So then, once we hear back from you all, then we'll know, but we'll start essentially with article.
Well, the definitions in the articles that can already be TA'd.
We'll TA those, when we come in, we'll just say that, but what's the first one after that?
Negotiations.
Okay.
That
Okay.
would be easy.
Okay, so we'll prepare for the first, what'd you say?
I'm just saying that when we go to the recognitions and definitions, I don't know if we necessarily need to TA that straight up, because there may
You
be
could
some
add more.
definitions later on that we
Yeah.
come up with that we wanna define.
Yeah.
So just to,
Like comp time.
exactly.
Annual based, hourly.
Joke starter.
Yeah. Yeah, there's one for me
Good
too.
mood.
All right, well, I appreciate, so I think we've set the tone. I think we know how we're gonna work, and then we'll kind of go from there. So the 22nd is in the evening. I think it is. We asked for this one to be in the morning. And we'll be ready for it to begin the next time with the board and everything set up, ready to go. Okay, and if you can give me a heads up, Scott, as it relates to, once we TA these things, the ones that we just know are given. If you say we're gonna start with this article, then it gives me an opportunity to work with my team to say, is there anything in this article that you'd like us to address? That'll be- Yeah, that'll be beneficial for us, so I don't, yeah.
And then that way, you'll be able to be prepared.
Perfect, that's all I'm requesting. All right, thank you, we're good. Thanks, team.
Do have one request, and I don't know, this might be able, the ARP, the American Relief Plan, whether or not, when it comes down to that, how that's gonna be implemented.
It falls in our
schools.
bargaining years.
So, just making sure that we put that on your radar of the monies that were federally passed, and how that's gonna be implemented in the district.
Well,
I'll get with, thanks.
okay. Yeah, so far, I don't know that there's any personnel money. We want there to be personnel money. The governor has said there's going to be $1,000 bonus from the state's portion of that money to teachers, kind of again telling us where it's going, who it's going to in principals. Prior to that announcement, it was said by DOE, it's not personnel money, unless you have a robust summer program, you need tutoring, you need to catch up for the COVID gap. Something with, directly related to COVID, not salaries. But people want it to be because there's a lot of money coming. And so I don't think it's for recurring expenses. I think the jury is out, and I'll still talk to Kim. I've talked to a lot of CFOs on just exactly what it's for.
Yeah, there's 17 things on the list that it can be used for.
I think mental health is on there. I think social emotional learning and mental emotional health. Because
And personnel that would address it.
I'm involved with the group.
Okay.
It's all relatively new, we're diving into it right now, so we maybe bring some more information back.
We're still getting direction on the second ESSER, where they said, well, we're not really defining, you first spend all of your first one, and we'll tell you the second one. And so it took 6-7 months for the first one to be fully articulated. So this one's a month old.
Okay.
and a lot more money. And so,
There are a lot more demands on.
yeah, it'll take time.
One of the demands is that we do know is that it does say that you have to work with community members and your LEA, which is us. So we wanted to make sure that we establish that quickly before diving into things
So,
separately.
so the minutes will reflect you want 10%.
Right.
Yes.
We want decision,
You wanna collaborate.
collaborate.
Congratulations, so 20%?
All right, well, thank you for bringing that up, that's so noted in the minutes, and we'll have that out to you prior to the meeting. Okay, thanks all. I know a small, you and myself, Brett, we wanna chat for just a minute, but everybody else is excused. Thank you all. I know you want, what are you asking?
Last time we talked, there was.
Yeah, see, when you brought it up, you wanted to go article by article, so we stopped, we'll talk about that. Just
You
give
have
us
a
a
couple
second.
of principles in here that we wanna weigh in. So if you wanna grab your principles?
No, I don't, no, cause I don't think I can get Ms. Clemens, Mr. Burgess, I wanna talk to her for just a second.
Yeah.
Oh, oh my God, and he's sitting right behind you instead of words. I see like this, and you were right there.
He's in your blind spot.
Yeah, thank you. They're trying to tell my teenager that they're a blind